Today's topic is permanence meets access, and this is all about the RIO network, which is the gateway to the permaweb. And in a couple of slides later, we shall see how the RIO is the gateway to the permaweb. But first, let's define what is RIO. RIO stands for Archive Input Output. This is the protocol that helps upload data on Archive and retrieve that data from Archive. So the input part means the upload side of data, and the output is the fetching, indexing, caching, and all the mechanisms that happen behind the scene to be able to retrieve data from Archive. And we shall talk more about that later. But one question is, how did we get here in the first place? What is the motive to have the RIO network? And that's because the Archive base layer has no incentives to retrieve data. So the only incentive of the base layer is to store data permanently and have that data replicated. But serving that data has no incentives on the base layer. That's why we have a protocol on top of Archive that is called the RIO network. But then what does the I in RIO means? We've talked a bit about this a few slides before, but the I in RIO is the part in the RIO network where the RIO network with tools like R-Drive, Turbo, and the CLI help input data on Archive or store data on Archive. And we have this new concept of bundling, which allows for cheap uploads. To illustrate this, I think there is one very easy way. Think about it like you are in point A and you have to take 10 packages to point B. If you take one package at a time to point B, that's not efficient. What you can do is to put all those packages together and send them to point B in one go or in one transaction. And that's where the Archive Network Standard 104 comes in. And you can read more about that on the Archive GitHub or somewhere in the Archive docs. So the second part is the O from the input output. And this is where the RIO network is making sure that data is retrieved efficiently from Archive. Because as we said earlier, the base layer has no incentives for retrieving data. It only has incentives for storing data permanently and have that data being replicated. And so, you might have this question, how is all of this achieved? Let's look at one concept, which is gateways that I've just talked about. And these are softwares that ensure that data is available for read by indexing, caching, and retrieving that data in a very efficient way. Now, let's look at one transaction that is being retrieved from the archive.net gateway. And so this one transaction here is actually the archive.org dark logo. If you paste this in your browser, you can see that. By looking at this one transaction, you might come to some sort of thoughts of this kind. Like, I really did not sign up to have like these weird links. Imagine you're trying to retrieve that logo from the permaweb, but you have to remember the transaction ID. And this is not a better user experience. And this is not the type of permaweb that you are trying to build here. And you're right. That's where another protocol comes in, or another service or system, which is the RNS. And RNS stands for Archive Name Service or Archive Name System. And this is the naming system on top of Archive, whereby you can assign a human readable name to any transaction and that will get retrieved from the Archive base layer. And this allows us to have no more ugly links like the other link we've just seen there, or no more long links as the one we've just seen before. So just to illustrate that, we have the Archive Africa website, and this is the normal. If you want to retrieve this directly from the base layer, this is how that link looks like, right? If you put this link in your browser, it's going to resolve to the Archive Africa website. But imagine if you're just trying to type that in your browser and you don't know what the actual transaction ID is, you'll never remember all these characters. And you're right. With RNS or the Archive Name Service, you have these what's called the Wayfinder, if I'm not mistaken. And so your links just become as easy as this, right? So if your name is probably, let's say, Dexy, you can just do in your browser AR//Dexy, and this is going to resolve to the nearest gateway. I don't know how the mechanism works behind, but it's going to resolve your transaction ID and serve your site that is linked to this name. And you can see how easy this becomes with RNS to serve the data that is on the permaweb efficiently, right? And this looks way cooler than what you had seen before. This is all the power of this new naming system on top of Arif that is called the RNS. And so you might be wondering, yeah, all this sounds cool, but like, where is the opportunity with all this? And to answer this question, we can look at it from like different angles. We have for developers. So developers now have this ability to integrate the PermaWeb stack directly in their applications. They can utilize the Turbo SDK to like do uploads on Arif and retrieve data from Arif. They can add RNS names to their applications and all that to have these truly decentralized applications that live entirely on Arif or entirely on the PermaWeb. Companies can do a lot of things utilizing the Turbo SDK to probably upload data that they would want to keep no matter what. They can also use the Turbo SDK to have the ability for their users to upload data on Arif directly. And also, they can run a gateway if they want to, which is a very interesting thing. I think at the moment, there are around 585 decentralized gateways that are run by the communities and companies in the PermaWeb ecosystem and other people who are really interested in doing this, in running a gateway, right? Creators can easily upload their data or their creation to Arif using R Drive. They can also assign PermaWeb names to their data. So imagine you have this cool probably video that you recorded and it's uploaded on the PermaWeb, and you want to like assign a subdomain to that you can retrieve easily, right? You can do that currently with the current RIO network, which is an interesting thing as well. And also for tech lovers, I think the easiest thing you can do is just to explore the ecosystem, see what's there. There are apps that are already there that you can use. And you can also run your own gateways to help decentralize even further this decentralized cloud network. And for other people in the ecosystem, as I said, there are builders who are building day and night on top of the RIO network, on top of AOD computer, and on top of Arif to provide you the best experiences around there. You have R Drive if you want to store something or on Arif. You have games that are coming out that are completely on chain. The whole stack is on chain. You have exchanges and so many things coming in the pipeline, which is, I think, the opportunity for everyone to experience what that decentralized web looks like and feel very free in this cyberspace. And on top of the things I've mentioned, there is a lot more opportunity for other people in the ecosystem as well. People that I didn't mention or the opportunities that I didn't really mention. There is a lot happening on the PermaWeb